when you have that hook and chain down on multiple enemies, it's going to spread and share some of that damage between all of the hook targets. And that's not limited to heroes. I've seen a couple times where a jungle minion will get hooked up to a escaping hero, and that damage does pass through those chains. But a Black Feather, first one to be picked up here on the B side by JimmyFanclub.
And when we talk about heroes that are worth the risk to pick up on your first pick, usually you'll only do this on B side because you've got that final pick for countering, but it is going to be Ringo, that Varia, and Black Feather. Black Feather has, in the right circumstances, been unstoppable. I mean, he can go CP, he can go weapons, so he's a flex pick, and you're really not going to want to pick a non-flex pick so early on in the draft. So I really like what JimmyFanclub did here. If you're going to take one of those power picks quickly, yeah, it's going to be one of those three heroes.
I would definitely expect it to be. I like that they've taken the Ringo off. We see on JimmyFanclub, they've banned away both the Varia and the Ringo, those super weapon hyper carry heroes that we know and love so much this patch. And two captains now banned away from the side of Nova. They've taken the Grace and the Arden off. And I do like this because the Churnwalker is a very, very potent captain, and you're taking away some of those huge playmakers away from the enemy. Now they're left to struggle. We know Lorelei's globally banned, so there's essentially three very powerful captains banned away, and they're going to go with the Finn.
Finn has been a support we actually haven't seen a whole lot of in the meta. We saw him once play before here, though, in this championship. And again, a lot of times, if you've got a lot of the other supports banned away, but Lyra's still available, I'm really surprised they didn't go with this. I think the reason here is to nominate is you can't stun out the Finn, right? And that's going to be a big factor is, you know, he'll still be a little bit mobile when Churnwalker goes in for those trespasses. And that could be, you know, a big deal depending how you play. My only fear here is the Black Feather is probably going to want to be aggressive, and Finn can't follow through with those quick attacks, at least not early on.
Yeah, that is one of the real downsides of Finn, especially when you pair him with assassins like the Black Feather, the Kashkas, the Takas. Finn isn't really in the middle of the fight if you're chasing or diving onto the backline, and that can restrict what Finn is able to do to help his team. Now, we mentioned it a little bit earlier. When you ban away these heroes that have the additional range, someone like Vox really, really shines, and I do like this pick specifically into the Black Feather. Vox in the late game can deal with Black Feather pretty effectively, especially when Black Feather is, again, going to be forced to run away from the Finn, and the Churnwalker is going to be there to help protect this Vox. Black Feather can't be repositioned during his Rose offensive. He cannot be stunned during his Rose offensive. But if those charges are burned out, then something as simple as a single Torment could be the difference of life and death for this Vox or Black Feather.
And we are using a lot of bonus time on this last pick. Actually, it looks like we might have a bug here, so I do apologize. We're going to have to likely restart the draft here, so it shouldn't take too long. The draft begins. There we go. Pause, unpaused. We are back into it, so let's go in, hopefully.
Looks like we still might be paused. I don't see time sticking down. Yeah, it's automatically pausing itself.
So what we'll do here is just restart completely. These issues happen time to time, everybody, so be patient with us, but we'll try to get them sorted out as quickly as possible. The plus side is we get to watch it all over again. So for you and I, Day, helps us think about what we're going to say next a little bit more.
Yeah, it gives us a little bit of time to formulate some story and how this Vox is going to trample over the Black Feather when he is left to his own defenses because Finn, the river troll, so slow, cannot keep up to the mobility.
And you know, we always say that when we talk about drafts. Oh, the Finn, the mobility. And mobility is really huge, but it has been impressive when Finn is successful, even with the lack of mobility. And a lot of it comes down to the team synergy. If you're coordinated and Finn positions correctly early on in that fight, it doesn't matter. His play company is giving so much fortified health. His pool is a great way to just, cause you to burn a Crucible, which you otherwise may have been wanting to save for later. And we're going to see Fanclub with their final pick. Likely, I would love to see something that has some crowd control, like a Baptiste. Baptiste still available, but Nova on that Samuel. That's a hero pick that we know Lone Delphi is extremely competent with.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Baptiste would be very risky. While Baptiste does pair very well, actually, with Finn, because, again, Baptiste, not the quickest of heroes, he's very susceptible to the damage that this Samuel can put out. The biggest thing you can do against a Baptiste is just to outrange and outpoke his bad mojos. So I do also like this pick, the Alpha. The Alpha and the Finn work very well together as well. The Blackfeather, as long as he's not diving too far, can receive a lot of benefit from the Finn. The Polite Company obviously will give that extra fortified health, as well as Alpha can use that extra sustainability. But I do need an invite here, Dragon.
No, I got you. Don't worry. We're still working through a few things here before we jump into the match. But you're absolutely right. I'm actually really glad they went with the Alpha as well. I think this is kind of the engage. But again, it's a little interesting here, Dave, because now you've created a composition that really is going to be wanting to push the envelope on these fights, push aggressively. So I think one of the things you can do here is you could definitely make sure that Finn gets some mobility up with some boots early to help make sure he can just stay up with his team, because Blackfeather and Alpha are both players that can kind of move into the front line, get behind the support like a Churnwalker to try to get a Vox and Samuel taken down very low. And I'd have to imagine that's how you'd want to play it. I don't really think that playing defensively with an Alpha and a Blackfeather will be nearly as successful. So JimmyFanclub's strategy here could be a multitude of different ways. And actually, just so you know, the Alpha and the Blackfeather guys, they are both flex picks. They could be played either way, which I think does allow a little bit of guessing here on the side of Nova of what exactly JimmyFanclub's going to do. A little bit. I think we kind of can guess what they're going to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to go ahead and throw that out there that we should know where it's going to go. However, I do want to make note to everybody, we don't have Mixi playing today for JimmyFanclub. It is going to be Lightning T, Standard Solo, and Grass. And it does look like Lightning T. He's going to be on that Blackfeather, very, very likely going to the lane. I'm going to say because it's a lane Blackfeather, it's almost certainly going to be Weapon Power, which is going to leave Crystal Alpha in the jungle. And I do think this is the smartest way to play it into the box.
Definitely be successful here as we jump into the fold in just a moment, everybody. But, I kind of feel like there's an exposure, a hole here that JimmyFanclub can be taken advantage of by Nova, and we'll just have to wait and see. But we're getting into the matchup, everybody, so let's jump right in, Day, as we start off the game here. And looks like we're starting off in very predictable fashion, which you can see Carrie starting in the backside to share that ambient gold and ambient experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to go ahead and just for clarity reasons, winner 1337 is Truth, correct? He was victim to one of the name change issues. So
it's kind of hard to call it victim, but he is in a situation, so that is Truth of Light, and hopefully that gets corrected sometime here. But already early on today, we do have an aggressive push coming out of Nova.
We do, but the damage is getting answered right back as Truth does take over half of his health as well. They are going to get the better half of that trade, and I do want to make note, this Finn, while he's very good at blocking out those Malice and Verdicts, he is very good at blocking out those Malice and Verdicts, and later into the game, that can be a little bit of an issue with Delphi when he picks up the Dragon's Eye and the Broken Myth. It's going to be very easy to build up those stacks against Grass, and we'll have to see if he's able to hold out there. But it's like, do we?
Yeah, we have it.
I might be having an issue.
No, I'm getting it sorted out here on my end, guys, so I do apologize. But it looks like we'll be jumping in here in just a second. As sorry about that. Is something that we try to get sorted out here. It looks like I've got it fixed, so hang tight, whereas we're going to be jumping into this first matchup. Here we go. All right, it's working now, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the game. You guys were watching a black screen there for a few seconds. We had you fooled, but no, honestly, do apologize for that.
These wild NA productions here, Dragonborn. I'm just messing with you. But Nova, they look like they're going to go ahead and take that Treant. They're going to with ease. And now Truth going to go ahead and rotate back. He's got 1,400 gold in his pocket. Picks up some boots as well as a Barb Needle there. Looking to go likely into that Poison Shiv first item. And that's going to help reduce some of the barrier and fortified health as well as that fountain healing that can come out of the side of JimmyFanclub.
Samuel already gone back to shop. and is working very quickly to his first tier 3 item. You can see a little bit behind Lightning T, but right in line with Standing Solo as far as jungle CS. So keeping it close. Speaking of keeping it close, Churnwalker pushed up in this lane bush to try to keep things close. And nice rotation by Nova here. We'll have to see as Nova does get...
Here comes Standing Solo, though. A lot of damage down onto Truth. Lone Delphi kiting around the edge. Truth might even actually make it out. He does on a sliver of health. What a play coming out of them. Standing Solo, another prime directive down. Gets some splash damage, but takes quite a bit in return as well. Both Lightning T and Standing Solo forced to back on out. We don't have that termination protocol yet coming out of Standing Solo, so he was not able to make the full engage that we know in Alpha would be able to do so. And without Lightning T having had a chance to shop, he's a little susceptible to the damage that the enemies Nova are able to put out and has to be quite cautious. He does have that healing flask saved up and ready to go, though, and will be able to heal up off the wave. But again, needs to go spend some of the 2,600 gold in his pocket.
Yeah, and of course you saw Truth of Light almost going down. A swig of the flask was just what he needed to save him.
Standing Solo almost able to get Truth. Not quite. In fact, takes almost all of his health as well. And with Lightning T and Grass both having recalled because they were dangerously low as well, that's going to force the minion wave up. Standing Solo going to be forced to take away some of that CS just to make sure it doesn't get lost. But because the wave was pushed that way, it's going to allow the entire side of Nova to go ahead, recall, shop up. Truth has that Poison Shiv. Delphi, he has the Heavy Prism, the Eclipse Prism. Do you expect we'll see the Dragon's Eye for the first item?
Could be. We saw it played with the last Samuel from last night's game. It's such a powerful first item on poke heroes. The sustain it gives you, the increased damage, and the fact that the changes to it have really allowed you to, extend fights even early on and not have to just go all in. And that's something that Samuel plays really well with, so I wouldn't be surprised. Lone Delphi, I love his rotations. Rotating all the way over to the enemy tri-bush each time and then coming up to the lane very quickly. And perfect timing this time, Zenominee. He's going to help push down this turret to about half health.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the strongest points of a jungler with so much range, is he can make those rotations in the lane. But it's Truth taking quite a bit of damage here. Lone Delphi kiting around very effectively within that Drifting Dart. Got several Malice and a Verdicts off. Standing Solo, you might have gone a little bit too far. You are level 6. You have the Termination Protocol. Is it enough to get the kill? Lightning T, he's looking to get in here onto Truth. I don't think he has the damage, though. Rose offensive to try to get him out, but it's going to be Truth going ahead and picking up first blood here, almost 6 minutes into the game. And now without their Black Feather and with Standing Solo and Grass so low on health without that infinite reboot, I think this might be first turret for the side of Nova as well.
Oh,
maybe a couple extra kills, actually. It looks like Standing Solo is overstepped as well as Grass. Slow River Troll not able to get out of the kill zone there. That's going to be 3-0 for the side of Nova, as well as having that first objective lead. And they've taken a 2,000 gold lead here early on. Lightning T looking for some damage, quickly forced out. Rose offensive off the back of the Torment. Can he find the kill? There's one on the board for the side of JimmyFanclub. And now Lone Delphi, he's coming up, and that's going to be a kill. Number 4 going over to the side of Nova.
Yeah, good job by Nova. They gave up a kill. I feel like Truth should have backed out of that lane earlier, but it's overstayed. But Lone Delphi, good job again, continuing to rotate up from the enemy side. So he's basically owns that enemy tri-bush and can move freely from there, and that's really, really bad. And we're starting to see the disadvantage of Finn's mobility really shine here, because Finn has just been unable to get into the positions he needs to help his team. And then, Lightning T and Standing Solo can't be nearly as aggressive because you don't have a support that's kind of engaging and absorbing a lot of that damage. Instead, Grass kind of forced to be on the back side of these fights. It's a massive problem, and if it consists, this is going to be a game that Nova can just run away with. Eco, only at level 5 here, so this is not even a deadly Nova yet, but it could be, could be JimmyFanclub walking into the bush at the wrong time. And oh yeah.
Looks like Standing Solo's getting pretty hurt here. He's going to make it out. Oh, going to drop down into the infinite reboot. Fortunately for the side of Nova, he's a little too far to actually chase down without going underneath the turret. Meanwhile, Lightning T's up here forcing in the lane wave, but Lone Delphi's here to answer. Lightning T's down below half health. He does get a barrier. He is going to, unfortunately, have a fountain come down onto Lone Delphi, bringing him back. Sleep lands. Meanwhile, Truth was able to find a kill onto Grass. They finally get the kill onto Lightning T. Stan Solo left alive and alone in his jungle, trying to get some of this CS before Truth comes down and takes it. But here comes Truth. And even with the Crystal Sentry here, I don't know if Stan Solo, without that extra lifeline, can actually take this fight.
Oh, he's getting
looking pretty close.
Whoa.
Not quite there.
Yeah,
Not quite there. The Vox, he's got the breaking point. He's got that poison shiv. The length of that fight was never really going to look good for Stan Solo.
Immense gold payout
And we do have a nice, massive payout. It is massive. At 8 minutes, you're about near full on that gold mine. That is a visual bug, everybody. It's not -1. But this is a game that Nova's just absolutely storming here. And look, Winner a little bit too far forward, but Truth able to get defended by the rest of his teammates coming into that fight. Pushes Lightning back behind his turret. This is another lane push coming in out of Nova. And Denominate, when we look at just how well Nova's playing this early game, and then we look at their composition, this is a composition that's going to continue to scale into the later part of this game.
Yeah, absolutely will. But here comes Stan Solo. Prime Directive is going to land, but has it put him in a bad spot? They're forced to retreat. Truth, however, low on energy as well. Going to go ahead, rotate down, picks up a Treant that's going to help top him off on health and energy. It looks like he may have a Bone Saw coming out. I wouldn't expect a late game tension bow out of Truth, at least. I expect him to just try to be ramping up onto a single target and getting every buff and debuff he possibly can. And against, you know, targets that are typically very tanky and able to survive diving into the backline does seem like a very, very smart choice, as well as that bonus attack speed. It's going to be very helpful. Here comes Stan Solo. A lot of damage onto Truth. Lightning T is in. Rose offensive onto Delphi. There's the Fountain. That's going to be Truth finding one kill. Quickly going to be able to find another one as well. Termination Protocol is down. Will it be enough? It's not. It's beautiful Sonic Zoom coming out of Truth. Going to get him out of danger, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Aftershock just barely helping him get out.
Oh, nice
Eco
job.
doing such a great job blocking out that Prime Directive. Truth is eventually going to fall, but not at no cost. Stan Solo drops well. Lightning T back on the fold, but it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Nova. Now they are up 9-2, up 3,500 gold, as well as very healthy. And with Truth coming back on the board, they might be looking for the next fight. And there's that Bonesaw.
I will say, JimmyFanclub, they've done a good job at trying to keep this next turret alive here. They've only given up one turret, and when you've looked at how aggressive Nova's been in this early part of the game, that's pretty impressive. I mean, they need to kind of stall this out in Turtle, and everything they could do to continue that. Giving up deaths, not a really big deal. You are giving up gold. You do need to be careful, but if you're denying objectives and you're denying the ease of Nova to just continue to farm and stack up gold on top of you, then you are being successful, and that's what JimmyFanclub have to continue doing here, is slow this game down. Nova, they're looking for another engagement, though, because they're feeling hot.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're looking to force this wave in. That turret is sitting pretty hurt here, under half HP. And with a recall coming out of Lightning T and Lone Delphi here in the lane, they might look to just go ahead and get that offense down. If they can drop that turret, they're going to have no problem pushing into the rest of JimmyFanclub. It does look like Nova are going to back off, try to set their fight up a little bit. If that Prime Directive there from Stan Solo would have landed, that would have been a perfect opportunity for us to just see how things go and how far this Alpha and Blackfeather overextend away from Finn, just to try to get damage down. And then they're subject to everything the enemies have to offer without having their own support. And now Lightning T, he is with his team. Here comes a beautiful Prime Directive out of Stan Solo. Can they find the kill? They cannot. It looks like Truth is just racking up these breaking point stacks, sitting at 10 right now with a level 10 infusion as well. They are not scared of this one. Stan Solo is going to go ahead and use the Termination Protocol. It is going to hit Truth. Will it be enough? A reflex block might keep him alive just long enough. They're going to find a kill onto Lightning T. And now Lone Delphi drops some Drifting Dark. Stan Solo with no infinite reboot. I think this just might be the end of him. Eco might drop as well to Stan Solo. But I do think Lone Delphi should be able to win out on this trade. Ooh, a beautiful stun coming out of Grass.
Well, they're turning it around.
Drifting Dark, though. Yeah, the splash damage coming out of these Drifting Darks and the Malice and Verdict combo, you have to be very cautious of. Lone Delphi, beautiful Oblivion, gonna cancel the recall. They find the kill onto Grass. Can they find Stan Solo? 1, 2, 3. Lone Delphi's gonna take him down. Not quite in time to get the ace, but Lone Delphi, beautiful plays there. Excellent execution. That Oblivion was just perfect.
But you know what, though? They're continuing to stall this game out. JimmyFanclub just want to keep this turret alive. I think it's finally going to fall down right now.
Lightning T, you're looking pretty low yourself, but a beautiful root onto Truth may be detrimental to his health. He's going to get it on a sliver of health. They got the turret as well. They're leading 5,000 gold at this point, and Nova, they're looking poised to keep up the pressure. Gold mine, I believe, is full again. But Truth, he's very low on health, has to be incredibly cautious. One good attack coming out of Stand and Solo, one prime directive with an aftershock proc would be all that it takes.
It's been a wild ride here. I think JimmyFanclub did the best they could to slow the game down. They clearly lost the early game, and Alpha just needs a few more items to get to that point. I mean, he's got the offensive items now. He could probably take advantage of some cooldown, but now just building up some defensive items could really use a reflex block pretty soon, because you're looking at a decent amount of crowd control coming out between Lone Delphi and that Trespass. There's an Echo built already, so Eco now will be able to double the Trespass, making it extra hard for JimmyFanclub to just, you know, outlive these fights. And again, long fights, they really do favor Nova right now. When you've got that Dragon's Eye, when you've got the Bone Saw on Truth of Light, you know, these are all things that Nova can just, you know, outlast, extend here. We got a fight breaking out right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a quick kill onto Delphi, and that's just what JimmyFanclub needed. Now it's Truth in the backline. He's racking up these breaking point stacks. I don't know if it's going to be enough to 1v3, especially not with that stun coming out of grass. Might be enough to drop into the infinite reboot. It will. Stand and Solo with that infinite reboot, though, will get back up. Fortunately for Nova, the Kraken is not on the board, but they're very likely going to lose out on this gold miner. They're going to lose out on a first turret. They may even lose some of their jungle as well, as this Alpha and the Aftershock procs are taking this gold mine down fairly quickly. Should be able to get a full gold payout out of this as well, and that's going to help kind of start to neutralize things, especially when you pair it with that first turret.
This is a huge turn for JimmyFanclub, because on top of delaying what was a very strong early game show coming out of Nova, they've now turned things around. They've dropped that gold deficit down to just 2,000, or just a little under 2, or a little over 2,000. And they've taken an objective, so only one objective behind. And this is huge, and now they're catching out Nova again. It just looks like they're starting to find some groove here. Going in, there's that Trespass.
Yeah, Trespass is down, but so is Stand and Solo's health, and now Truth, he's onto grass, building up those breaking point and bonesaw stacks. That's a kill onto the River Troll. Kraken now on the board, and with that, Lightning T as low as he is, and Stand and Solo as low as he is, they're going to have to be really cautious, because Nova, they're very likely going to start up this Kraken, and while you could potentially have a little bit of a contest here coming out of the side of JimmyFanclub.
It would be very risky.
It would be very risky. Their health bars are very low, but here comes Stand and Solo, almost able to get Eco, but that fountain, there it is, popped. A beautiful termination protocol, though. That was such great play coming out of Stand and Solo.
Oh my goodness.
Back there, Lightning T found it. Can they find the kill onto Delphi? Oh, it's so close. I think Lightning T, I think he'll be dropping here with Lone Delphi's Drifting Dark not moving, unless if that's just me.
No, it's moving now. Yeah, it's just you. Standing Solo, very low. Lightning T, extremely low. Lone Delphi, this is the sustain from Samuel that is just so scary. And it really, honestly, forced the entire team. Almost what could have been an ace going in favor of JimmyFanclub to nominate. Instead, was Lone Delphi just keeping Nova in this game. And again, with the early start of this game, you would have thought Nova would have just snowballed this away. But we're starting to see a comeback. And you exactly said it. This Crystal Alpha is just so scary when she gets that termination protocol right in the middle of the team fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Took down Eco, and, you know, big 900 damage splash onto Delphi. Beautiful execution out of him. They were able to pick up the kill onto Truth as well. They weren't able to find a kill onto Delphi, but they didn't lose their 2 lives either, and that's really a huge benefit for them as well, because they were able to win out on the fight. They were able to prevent Nova from taking the Kraken, and the play was... Stand and Solo literally saved the game for JimmyFanclub there, almost single-handedly. Lightning T, again, able to pick up that backline kill onto Truth, but without Stand and Solo, that was That was the end of the game there for the side of JimmyFanclub. Here we go, though. It's another Prime Directive coming in. Standing solo. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's dishing it out as well. Lightning T was onto Truth, but those stacks are starting to build up. Standing solo, he has the Termination Protocol, unable to use it. And oh no, Truth, you're in a rough spot, stunned up. Lightning T, can you finish off the kill? Lone Delphi, still very healthy, but does not have a ton of energy. There's a stun. Here comes Lightning T. He's losing his breaking point stacks. The Oblivion is down. That's going to force Lightning T off. And Lone Delphi again, as this Samuel, holding off everything. Lightning T forced to use the boots to get out safely. But again, Lone Delphi, single survivor for Nova, really been the player of the game for Nova to me. He's been the one that's been able to dish out just absurd amounts of damage into this triple melee lineup, and has really been able to save a couple of the misplays that have been coming out of them.
And that last fight wasn't so much a misplay. It really is Lightning T and Standing Solo becoming really hard to take down. There is so much defense built on these two players that it's just, and you've got the tankiness that's coming out of Finn. They're playing around Finn. What you really need to see happen is you need to see the aggression coming back for Nova. They're allowing the aggression out of JimmyFanclub, but they're not pushing the fight away from the Finn. So the Finn, he's able to keep that nice and close, nice and polite, getting that barrier over to his teammates, which is making them very hard to take down right now, Denominate. And, you know, you're talking about that breaking point, you know, Truth of Light is stacking, but it's stacking slow because he's only got fairly low damage output items with a lot of attack speed. So, you know, at first, it takes a little bit of time for him to do the damage to get that. And again, another fight breaking out here. This is going to be huge. Nova needs to win this fight.
Yeah, they do. Good Atlas down, though, is going to slow up Truth's attack speed. Lightning T, he's looking for the kill onto Delphi, knowing he's been the one surviving.
Oh,
Beautiful Oblivion coming out of Oblivion, though. And now Lightning T and Standing Solo, they're left to be food for Truth, and now they're chasing down Grass. That's going to be an easy kill there for Truth. Yeah, good block there on the stun. Now they're just toying around a little bit. Grass knows there's nothing he can really do, and in fact, all he's really doing is baiting out and lengthening the dispositioned timers on the death. 20 seconds now for Standing Solo, 40 seconds for Grass. Turret destroyed, and Nova, they might be looking to end the game here without the Kraken.
They are going to be cutting it very close. It's 3-man. They've got a lot of damage. Oh, a huge fight for Nova. That Oblivion single-handedly timed perfectly after the trespass, so they'd already burned the Crucible. Reflex blocks were burned, able to get half the team to sleep. And yeah, this is going to be a game to dominate. Unbelievable comeback. I call it comeback because they were starting to let that slip away from them. They had the early game. JimmyFanclub, to their credit, really starting to turn things up here. Just one bad fight. Unfortunately, not enough reflex blocks to deal with the crowd control coming out of Nova.
Yeah, I think JimmyFanclub played exceptionally well. Standing Solo actually shined a lot to me, and that's actually quite the opposite of what I expected. You know, the